My husband Daniel used to take the stairs two at a time, always in a rush, always moving, the kind of person who never sat still for long. But after his accident 2 years ago, everything changed. What most people don't see is that his disability isn't always obvious at first glance. Some days he can walk short distances, other days even standing too long puts him in serious pain. The elevator in our building isn't a convenience for him, it's a necessity. We live in a mid-sized apartment complex with an HOA that prides itself on order and efficiency, and while most residents keep to themselves, there's always that one person who decides they're in charge of everyone else. For us, that person was Karen. She had a reputation always watching, always commenting, always ready to point out what she thought was wrong. At first, it was small things. Comments about parking, about deliveries, about things that didn't really matter. But one afternoon, things crossed the line. Daniel and I were heading back from a doctor's appointment. He was tired, you could see it in the way he moved, slow and careful, conserving energy just to get through the day. We entered the lobby, quiet, calm, just trying to get upstairs. The elevator doors opened, and we stepped inside. That's when Karen's voice cut through the moment. "Excuse me," she said sharply from behind us. We turned. She was walking toward the elevator quickly, her expression already tense. "That elevator is for people who actually need it," she said loudly. I felt my chest tighten instantly. Daniel stayed calm, as he always does, but I could see the shift in his eyes, the familiar mix of frustration and exhaustion. "I do need it," he replied quietly. But Karen wasn't listening. "I've seen you walking," she snapped. "You're taking up space from people who are truly disabled." The words hung there, heavy and wrong. The lobby fell silent. A couple of residents nearby slowed down, watching. Daniel took a breath, steady but controlled. "Disabilities aren't always visible," he said. But Karen stepped closer, doubling down. "That's just an excuse," she said. "There are rules for a reason." I could feel the situation escalating, the tension building in the air. "That's enough," I said firmly, stepping slightly in front of Daniel. But Karen wasn't backing off. She reached forward and pressed the door open button repeatedly, keeping the elevator from closing. "You're not going anywhere until this is sorted," she insisted. That's when everything shifted. A voice from across the lobby spoke up, calm, firm, and impossible to ignore. "Ma'am, step away from the elevator." We turned. It was one of the building's security officers, already walking toward us with measured steps. The tone was different, professional, controlled, but with authority behind it. Karen froze for a second, clearly not expecting to be challenged. "I'm just enforcing the rules," she said defensively. The officer didn't raise his voice. "You're interfering with resident access," he replied. "That needs to stop now." The shift was immediate. The confidence Karen had been holding on to started to fade. Around us, more residents were watching now. Some were shaking their heads. Others had their phones out. Daniel stood quietly beside me, still composed, but I knew how much energy this moment was costing him. "He shouldn't be using it," Karen said again, but this time her voice didn't carry the same certainty. The officer stepped closer, his presence steady. "Elevator access is not restricted based on appearance," he said clearly. "And preventing someone from using it is not acceptable." There was a pause, a moment where everything seemed to hang in place. Then slowly Karen stepped back. Her hand dropped from the button. The elevator doors finally closed. Inside, the silence felt different. Heavier, but also calmer. Daniel leaned slightly against the wall, exhaling quietly. I reached for his hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "You okay?" I asked softly. He nodded. "Yeah," he said. "Just tired." When the doors opened on our floor, the tension had already started to fade, replaced by something else, relief, maybe even validation. But the story didn't end there. Incidents like that don't just disappear. Reports were filed. Statements were taken. And when everything was reviewed, it became clear that Karen's behavior wasn't just inappropriate. It was a violation of community conduct policies. The HOA, so focused on rules, suddenly had to apply them in a different direction. Within days, Karen received a formal warning. But more importantly, the building issued a notice to all residents, a reminder that disabilities aren't always visible, and that respect isn't optional. The atmosphere in the building shifted after that. People were more aware, more considerate. Small gestures started to matter more. And Daniel? He went back to using the elevator when he needed to, without hesitation. Because the truth is, he never should have had to justify it in the first place. Karen thought she was enforcing order. But what she actually did was reveal how little she understood. And sometimes all it takes is one calm voice, one person willing to step in to remind everyone where the line really is.